Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tome Knowledge. I'm here with Boobs Like Jagger and Virtual Spectre, and I'm me, Max. I almost said Out of Combat. That's a different show.
It is, yeah.
It'd be a very different type of show that we're doing here. So, welcome back, Boobs. Yay!
Yay!
Good to be back. I missed everybody. I was having major FOMO.
Yeah.
We missed you.
I sent you some TLDR. I guess it should have been TLDW for the past couple episodes. So
Yeah, I got those. So thank you.
Yeah,
I'm still gonna listen on the.
Oh
podcast.
yeah, and if you want to listen, if you want to listen to it, we've got a fully fledged out podcast that I painstakingly edit every week to make it sound better. But no, we're on Spotify, Apple, Google, Castbox, Overcast, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, as well as YouTube for our podcasts. So you can go check out Tome Knowledge. This show is on there as well. You can check out our Thursday drops, which are Out of Combat, which we talk about the previous episode of our campaign. And then, of course, our Friday campaigns also do release on podcast format. So lots of good stuff over there. Or you can go to our Patreon and just get it all early if you want. And
right. Links
you
in
get
chat.
those on. Yeah, you get everything on Sundays if you do Patreon. So you get early access to all those podcasts on Sundays. Way early on some of them. As well, if you haven't, please go check out our YouTube. Go subscribe to us over there. We're over there right now. We're always there.
Boom. Thumbs up.
Yep.
Boom.
Yeah.
Thumbs up.
Got exclusive YouTube content.
Yeah, liking and subscribing and slam the bell with your forehead. I don't know what do people say now.
I like that one. That was good.
just headbutt the bell, just like Falcon would.
Yeah.
Anyway, hope everyone is having a fantastic Monday. But the last major announcement that I want to say is if everyone could just wish Bun Bun a happy birthday today. Happy birthday!
Oh,
happy birthday!
Happy birthday, Bum Bum.
Where's my flute?
Nice. Yeah. She I don't know what her favorite present was, but I sure did get her a Tamagotchi from Evangelion. which is great. She's already reached. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was telling Max Bun's in chat that I got something from Japan for you too. So whenever I see you guys,
Wow.
there is a gift.
Didn't get her any new dice.
You know, surprisingly, I didn't see any dice in Japan.
Are you
at
talking
all.
about Mevius?
Yeah.
She has enough
Well.
dice.
What do you mean? Is there ever enough?
No, there
there's
were
not.
Japanese D&D books in the few bookstores I went to, and there's like, if you haven't
Oh.
seen the Japanese commercial for D&D, you should because it's badass.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah, same. No, I Bun also got some Diablo tarot cards, which are really cool.
Oh,
And
Nice.
so I turned on the little Tristram theme on my phone and let her do my my reading for the day. And it was basically my past was like shit sucked, and my present was like shit's probably gonna suck soon, and then my future was wow, this is really gonna suck.
Oh, damn, okay.
So thanks for that, bud.
I should have bought you a good luck charm from some of the shrines I went to.
Yeah, some kind of talisman or something.
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
It's-
they sell talismans. I should have got one.
It said someone close to me is gonna betray me. Is it one of you?
I didn't want to have to tell you this, Max, but I'm starting my own D&D channel.
Oh shit!
It's gonna be a direct competitor to CNC. Sorry.
It's gonna be let me try.
Well, if it's the classified cast, he's already betrayed us. He doesn't listen to our podcast. He listens
Adventurers
to
and
another
assholes. We're gonna do A and A.
show. Yeah.
Assholes and adventures.
Hey, Shelves, Zeus, Fun. It's good to see everyone. Drago, Aya.
Hello, Shelby. Drago. Hopefully everyone's having a good day. Let's get into our fun topic for the day, which I think is going to be interesting. So we had decided we would go on the internet and find a whole bunch of house rules, good, bad, and neutral. And then I learned, as I think you did as well, that when you're looking for house rules on the internet, most of them are in the bad column. The good ones that are really good, I think that we use like a good majority of them for this campaign.
And then most stories are about house rules is typically a story about a bad DM experience players had. So it wasn't really about the house rules. It was just they had a bad experience and left that group like immediately.
Mm-hmm. Which I mean makes sense because usually the DM's the one that will like give the yay or nay on a lot of house rules anyway. So it's gotta, I mean, for the most part, it kind of has to go through them, right?
Do you want to talk about the house rules that we use for casters and cantrips?
Yeah, because I was pulling up our session 0 sheet just now. I thought that'd be a good introduction to look at, to give some context of what we do. Bun just sent me one that I'm gonna have to talk about. Oh man. Hold on. Bun, summarize that last one for me. I can't read right now. I gotta talk. So the rules that we use for our game, our house rules. First one is around death saves. So we pick that rolling a natural 1 on your death save doesn't count as 2 failures because I hate it and it sucks. Self-explanatory. I don't care if it's what the rules want. If you roll a nat 1 and then somebody kicks you, then you're dead forever. I don't like that.
Yep.
Second one, which I really like, we did this in campaign 1 as well. Death saves are rolled in secret and they're sent to the DM. So if Moobs is playing a character, his character goes down, when he rolls death saves, he rolls it and just DMs me and doesn't say anything. But yeah, I like that one too, VS, because it takes the meta out of the conversation where it's like, oh well, he's already passed 2 saves, he's probably fine. Like that's not how characters should treat their party members.
Yeah. And as a player, I like having a bit of knowledge between like DM and myself that the other table just doesn't. It's always fun because then you can just like see the reactions on people's faces and stuff.
Well, it creates a lot of urgency, not only for us as players, but also for chat and the viewers. Like, 'cause you don't know how many fails or succeeded saves they had, so it's always kind of like panic mode, as Cooter would say.
Yeah, agree. I like it. And then the last part of that, which is new this season, and we haven't had a lot of people go down. I don't think. Have we had anybody go down this season yet?
Yes. It was the ogre fight.
Oh, I don't think I was here for that.
We were in the jungle crossing a river, and I believe 2 of us went down.
The scary bitey fish.
Yeah, and the bitey fish when Cooter was trying to bite back.
Yeah. I don't know if we've had a chance to use this one. I know we've talked about it, and I don't remember if it's been used or not. But what we have on here is every time a player rolls a death save, your character's life flashes before their eyes. So we have the player narrate a moment from their past. It could be any sort of moment. Dramatic, good, happy. It's kind of something, gives them the player something to do on their turn besides just roll a die and DM me. So that's one that I really like too. And I've used it in games that I've played at home as well. And it really makes things kind of interesting, and you can kind of trickle out like character backstory if you want to, which is super cool.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. It really gives a lot of insight. It kind of makes us as players think of a background story on the spot sometimes. So kind of adds more depth for our characters.
Other stuff encumbrance, normal encumbrance rules. Don't count coin weight in D&D Beyond because it's silly. For HP, re-roll ones if you're rolling for HP because it's not fun. Nobody wants to roll a one. We've seen that in practice. A new one we added for this time are healing potions. So you can use a healing potion on yourself as a bonus action, and if you use it on someone else, it's an action, full action. So if you need to top off your health for yourself, it's a bonus action. Another one we've used, help actions. If someone's trying to help another player out for a skill check, the person that wants to help has to be skilled in that. I don't believe that's an actual rule. It's just ones that I like using. It avoids the I help for every situation kind of thing. But that one. Yeah, the inspiration one really isn't a house rule. It's just rules as written, but we changed it from last year. Revivify. This is one that I've lifted from Zeus because Zeus used it in one of his games. So normally you need a diamond as the material component for Revivify to make someone not undead. Not dead anymore. Making them undead is a whole different thing. To make them alive again.
Then they're a lich.
Yeah, you make them a lich right there. You're now a zombie. Congratulations. Cure wounds. Oh, you did? Excellent, Zeus. So yeah, just paying it all forward. Yeah, Dale Kingsmill. That's good channel to watch on YouTube as well. Monarch's Factory. But instead of just a diamond, you can also use a colored gem that's the same color as the person's eyes. Doesn't really affect too much, just fun flavor. And then now the character has to pay attention to their own eye colors. Not just
what's
me.
the cheapest eye color?
Yeah. Everyone has brown eyes now.
Yeah, tiger's eyes galore.
Yeah. I would fall on the cheap eye color, I guess, for brown.
Rock gray. Okay.
Yeah, rock. Yeah. Here's I don't know if rock classifies as a gem, but maybe if you polish it hard enough, I don't know. Yeah, the gem still has to be the same amount. What we're doing it, I think that it's been called brutal criticals. I think for some reason in our document I typed crunchy crits because it's funnier.
It's the same thing.
Yeah,
I think it's
Crunchy
because
crits.
it shares the name with the barbarian.
Yeah. So our crunchy crits, this is, I mean, it's been good. It's also been bad for some of you all too. Is when someone rolls a critical hit, instead of rolling like double the dice, you take max damage and then roll an extra dice. So if it's like, if you normally roll a d8 for your weapon, you don't roll 2d8, you roll a d8 and then add 8 to it. So more impactful criticals. I don't know. I think the jury's still out for me on it. It hasn't really became a huge problem, but I think as leveling occurs, it could be when you start getting some scarier monsters that might hit real hard.
Yeah.
I don't know, what do y'all think?
I think getting crits are infrequent enough. It might be okay, but yeah, when it happens, it's gonna hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I think it adds to the excitement, the drama.
Yeah, it's a good
It
point.
goes both
Zeus.
ways, you know. So
It's definitely fun as a player because you don't have to worry about rolling like your dice and then one of your dice is like a really low number and it just doesn't feel like a big hit. You automatically were gonna have one of your dice be max, and that's nice. It feels good.
Yeah. Yep.
I've seen it where people get a crit and they roll low and it as
feels
if like
kinda,
a crit never happened.
Yeah, it feels kind of doo-doo.
it is
Agree.
doo-doo.
And then we use some of the optional combat rules. So it's not really house rule. It's the optional combat rules in the player's handbook, or the DMG, sorry. That I don't think y'all usually use, but I use them for the monsters, like the overrun, the shove aside, and the tumble, to let you move through other people's squares. Because I don't like the idea of, like, if there's a 10-foot hallway and two monsters are there that you can't get past them, they just block it. I don't like that. But overrun is where you use athletics to push them out, to push through them. Tumble's the same with acrobatics, and then shove aside is instead of shoving him out, you can also shove him sideways to move things. So
Yeah.
I think y'all
We don't
forget
have a-
that it's there. It's at the bottom of our sessions.
Well,
Yeah.
we don't have like a real physical party. And maybe Emmy could do it as an animal or something.
Y'all got
but-
some dexterous people for tumbling,
True.
but
Could do some flips or rolls.
yeah. So those are the house rules that we use. As far as like, I mean, because I know I typed homebrew in the announcement on accident, and I was like, same, but not really. We have, I mean, shit. I mean, most of our campaigns homebrew. Like, it's all made up. It's not from the books. But I mean, really, the only homebrew that we've got is the Pinganu, which are the penguin people that are in the campaign. As far as like crunchy like homebrew stuff, sometimes magic weapons I do are homebrewed. I'll like borrow things and change things that make them more interesting. Yeah, but I'll if one of y'all dies, you can make a Pinganu. I'll share their stuff with you. New game plus.
Who knows what Azric's fate will be? Maybe he'll come.
Yeah.
Well, Bun's a druid. She might have the reincarnation spell. I might come back with something else.
Spoilers if you haven't caught up with the show. But yeah, you just can be Blackbeak now, Bun. You're just Blackbeak now. That's how you come back. So let's talk about some house rules. We'll call them not really the good, the bad, and the ugly, because I think bad and ugly are the same in this context. But I know that we could just read off of some lists. If you want to start moves.
Yeah, sure. This one I'm not really a fan of. But some people use it quite a bit. There's either what is it, fumble dice or catastrophic dice.
When you roll critical fumbles.
Yeah. If you roll a natural one, there's like, and it's different per DM. It's either like a 5 or 25% chance that something really bad happens, or either you attack yourself or you hurt a party member or whatever the narrative may be. That one I'm not really a fan of. This one I liked. It's they didn't have a name for it, but I call it the Ip Man punch. Because if you know Ip Man, he uses Wing Chun and Donnie Yen, and when he fights, he goes "Brrr" with that. So
it's a good movie. The first one anyway I've seen.
Yes, it's really good. You can blow all your key points to do like a crazy flurry of blows. So you're essentially doing Donnie Yen style, but then you're out of key points and you just it's like a cannon. So that one I thought was pretty cool. That one was pretty fun. I read one and you guys could chime in anytime.
Yeah, I feel like the Ip Man one, like, I don't know if that would pass muster for like action economy for me. It's like, because think about how much key points monks can get, right? So I'm looking up the chart right now. So you start with 2, but at 5th level you already have 5. At 6th level you have 6. So you're spending what, a key point, so you can spend all 6 of them and get what, 5 extra attacks. It's what's wild.
Yeah.
Thank you, Zeus. Yeah. Key equals level. Got it.
This one came from like one of the DM horror stories where the DM singled out one player in favor of others. But is a casting tax. So every spell that you cast has a gold sink tied to it. These are stories from Reddit. But essentially if the player wanted to cast a level 3 fireball, it costs, and this is an arbitrary number, the exact amount of gold that player had.
What?
And the DM's justification was that wizards need a gold sink because buying spells is not a sink enough. So that one was like a bad one.
I mean, I always say that D&D needs more things for their players to spend money on, but that I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah, that's a weird one. Like, was it just certain spells, or was it like every spell they wanted to cast?
Like all their spells had a
See,
casting tax.
I think there could be some cool things to do with like specific spells where there's a component cost, but then that component cost is something. I mean, it's monetary technically. You have to buy the components, but you never really see that happen. You just go, I bought X amount of things in this town. Okay.
Well, yeah, because with 5th edition, most things you can use your focus or a component, and it's just like I buy a component pouch, and that's all it is. And then there's certain spells, if there's a dollar or dollars, if there's a gold amount attached to it, then you have to have that specific thing, which makes sense.
Like Revivify, where you need a diamond
500.
valued at 500 GP.
Yeah,
but for every spell, that's just ridiculous.
So what's really funny is you mentioned that VS talking about components, because one of the things I have on my list was casters have to buy every single component for their spell pouch. That if they had to cast a spell, they had to buy that component, and then the amount is just whatever the DM decides instead of buying a pouch. And if you're not familiar, every single spell has different components for flavor in D&D.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
you're basically running an apothecary or something.
Yeah, because if they're gonna make you consume them like that, then you have to buy X number of those components every single time. That seems like way too much for me.
Yeah, that's just unnecessarily bogging things down for the player.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yes, we're gonna say something.
Yeah, I have a list here. A lot of it's Reddit stuff too.
I mean,
And
that's where most of the hot takes are coming from, to be honest.
Yeah.
so this one is kind of a little bit similar to the one the cat. What is it? The first one you mentioned about the player can do something extra or whatever. This is a little bit different. This DM had a rule where they found some old excerpt from a tabletop magazine or something that had a catastrophic damage table.
Mm-hmm.
And so what they would do is they would make a player do a skill check. If the player rolled a nat 1, they would do the thing where you would like hurt yourself
on skill checks.
Well, the person gave a skill check example.
That's insane. Okay, go ahead.
Mostly in combat.
Mm-hmm.
But then there was some other table he had where he would roll something else, and there would be a percentage chance that whatever that nat 1 bad thing happened, there was a chance that it was going to be catastrophic. So this person gave the example. They were just trying to brew something and rolled a nat 1. And so the DM's like, oh, well, your thing blew up and you take 2d8 damage. And then the DM rolled again for this catastrophic table and said, oh, that's bad. Didn't tell the player like what the roll was, just said, oh, that's bad. Your hands got blown off.
That's stupid.
And
I
you're
read the
bleeding
same
out.
thing.
Yeah, your hands are blown off and you're bleeding out. And the player's like, how am I supposed to... What am I supposed to do now? Like, the player said, like, they just wanted to rip up their character sheet and go home.
I don't blame them.
Like, how can I play with no hands? I'm a rogue.
Like, yeah. And then I read the same thing in the DM said your party has, and they rolled a d20 or whatever. You have X minutes to stabilize the rogue or you're dead. I was like, Jesus Christ.
I'm like,
wow.
geez, man, that's so bad.
Okay, I'm gonna read a bad one, a neutral one, and a good one. Y'all good with that? Let me find a bad one to look through here. Okay, here's one. Players starting stats are the normal array. Instead, it's not a standard array. Here's the array. 13, 11, 9, 7, 5, 5.
What?
Yeah, that's everyone's starting array.
That's like you're
It's
like a below
hilarious.
average NPC. You're an NPC,
Which-
basically.
Which, if everyone agreed to that, starting out, fine. But that wasn't the case. Oh, and the kicker on this one is you also got no ability score increases from your race either. It was just those were your stats.
That yeah, if everyone agreed, I could see that could be fun. That you're
Yeah.
just basically NPCs as a party. But
Mhm.
if that was that was forced, I'm like, nah, I'm good, man. I'll skip this one.
All right, here's a neutral one. This is based on my thoughts. Neutral house rule. This is one that Bun found for me, and I was like, oh my god. If your character drinks, then you drink. No more groups consisting solely of hard drinking badasses. Instead, you'll get actual honest to fuck drunken fuck ups. which is hilarious. I'm not advocating to put this at your table because that has a lot of potential to go wrong, but I think it's funny.
It is funny. We obviously couldn't do that because of TOS, but
You I'm pretty sure that it's pretty lenient on the platforms, but I don't drink anyway, and I don't think you do either, so it would be us. I think that's funny. Here's a good one, and Bun found this one for me too. Now, I almost want to do this. If a player is ready on their turn in under 6 seconds, they get a +1 bonus to their attack or spell DC for that turn.
oh,
I have one to add to that I found that's kind of a silly one, but it's funny. It says any attack that you can use 4 or more consecutive words of alliteration, i.e., since Sadie sat stupidly, Sammy superbly smashes some sad sack skeletons. It does double damage. So as you're describing the attack, if you can do alliteration, you get double damage on the.
that's really good. I like that.
Agreed. I disagree that it punishes full caster Zeus. I think that they just don't get the bonus. It doesn't punish anybody. It's just if you got your stuff together and you can do it, because they have a whole round to think about stuff. So I don't think it's a punishment. Plus, casters are more powerful anyway. Fight me.
I know how much Mac hates potions, and I saw this one. And this is if you're feeding someone a potion and they're unconscious, you have to roll to see if they choke on the potion liquids. I was like, what? That's wild. They're unconscious. How do they swallow it if you but yeah, so that sounds terrible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if they choke on it, do they drown? They're unconscious.
Yeah, I guess they start making death saves. I don't know.
So here's another fun one, I think. This DM has a thing where all their players have a theme song on a 200+ song playlist. Whenever the song comes on, the players get a bonus. It just says a bonus. I'm not sure what kind of bonus, but
so cool.
When their theme song starts playing, like in a combat or something, they get like some type of bonus for that round of combat.
That is so cool.
Yeah,
I would love to do that because I have a shit ton of music that we use for like combat. And having it come up would be like a special moment most of the time.
Yeah,
so.
It sounds like he would just do it at random moments, just put their track on, and when they hear it, they get like some sort of bonus.
Yeah,
they get amped up. I would get so pumped.
If y'all want to do this, let's take some notes on it, and if you want to peruse my playlists, that's fine. What Bun is doing is she's yelling Galiwaba in the chat. In a one shot, I made a Grung Ranger. And I made him a theme song, and his theme song just consisted of him singing his own name over and over. Is how I originally imagined it. So he just sang Galiwaba over and over.
This one is interesting. It could go either way. It could be bad or good, depending on your group and how comfortable everyone is. But for the lack of a better term, they called it a hotness check. And whenever they encounter something, it doesn't have to be a humanoid. It could be like an animal or an object or some treasure. The party was like, "Can I get a hotness check?" So, for example, in the post, the DM rolled a nat 20 on a horse, and the horse got a hotness score of a crit. So then the party proceeded to argue who was going to ride the horse first. Or
dumb.
Or if it's a lamp, now it's a beautifully sculpted lamp, and people want it. I don't know.
I hate it.
I keep stumbling across some like fun, silly ones. Like this one is anytime someone makes a bad joke, they have to roll a d20 to see how funny it was, and everyone has to force a laugh relative to the roll.
Silly. Here's a an awful one. Only killing blows get the XP. If you're fighting.
Oh man,
I can see that being really problematic.
that is dirty.
Yeah. Here's another fun one. All magic cast requires a concentration check to see if you can cast it.
So it's like a pre-check.
You just have to succeed a concentration check, or your cast fails.
Interesting. That sounds terrible.
Yeah.
Hello, Ghost. How are you?
Yeah, roll to see how drunk I get.
I hate it.
This one is interesting. And if we had this could have changed the events of some things. But if a player can break stun or paralysis, if through the power of sheer will, by taking 2 points of exhaustion.
I like doing like devil's bargains in the moment kind of thing. I don't like having a set rule of that. It's kind of because it's like if VS character like, hey, I want to do something really really cool, and I'm like, okay, what do you want to give up for that to happen? It's like, do you burn like a spell slot, like just let them come up with like their own kind of devil's deal type scenario. That's always fun, but I don't like having a set rule thing.
What about this? Apparently, this might have been a thing in older editions, but any healing spells has the ability to do damage to undead.
Yeah, 3.5.
Yeah, and a
That
lot of
seems
like
pretty cool.
a lot of Pathfinder like positive negative energy type stuff. That might be, I mean, that might be something that would be interesting to do, because I don't, and that's the thing is
like
that
an AoE healing spell. If enemies are in the radius of that AoE, they take some.
Yeah.
If they're undead, they would take some form of damage.
I miss it. I wish it was still in 5th edition because it makes sense.
I mean,
Yeah.
Wither and Bloom does that thing. It's an AoE if a healer or
Yeah,
hurt.
that's true.
Yeah.
I don't mind it. I just think that in 5th edition D&D, like casting a healing spell to deal damage to an enemy because they're undead isn't any better than casting a damage spell to damage an undead. Right? Because they're not like, most healing spells aren't that much compared to damaging spells, but you know,
it's like a flavor thing. Like if you want to play
Yeah.
that exorcist type cleric, like
Mm-hmm.
Blast an undead with instead of
Which
like inflict wounds that you're cure wounding.
that's what radiant damage is for that kind of stuff. I think. I think a lot of them are like there's a lot of instances where undead are like vulnerable to
Ooh.
it and stuff like that.
What about this one? If you are able to roll 3 20s in a row, you get a wish.
No,
A wish?
no.
It's a 1 in 8,000 chance, apparently.
I don't. The odds don't matter to me.
I was gonna say that's why I wanted to hear because that sounds really damn strong. I think
So,
that's for a single player has to roll 3 20s in
Yeah.
a row.
so in 3.5, my friends and I did a thing where if you rolled, because in 3.5 you had to confirm your crit. In 5th edition, it just happens. In
Mhm.
third edition, you needed, so if you rolled a natural 20, you need to back up your crit by hitting the target again. So what we did was, if you rolled a 20 and you backed it up with another nat 20, you have to then back it up a third time to insta kill the enemy or whatever you're hitting.
Why?
It was fun.
I mean,
It rarely happens, but when it
Yeah.
did happen, it was badass.
it makes for kind of an epic moment, right? Where your
Yeah.
party's like locked in and everybody's just bam, bam. Yeah,
Mhm.
I don't know. This one is kind of cool. They call it whimsy walls. The fractures in reality make giant prismatic wall or like colorful walls of light in the game in some secluded places. Players have a choice to jump through or not when they find one. If they do, they roll on the I don't know if this is D100.
Is it a wild magic table or something?
It says 1D or 1D 10,000. I don't know what that is.
What
I
is
think
a?
that's this type or
Yeah.
something. But anyway,
It has to
and
be a
they
typo.
yeah, and it says they see what happened on the table of odd magical effects that can happen to you. My first DM had this in their campaign. I loved it, and yeah. So basically, it's like at any random time, if the party's out on an adventure in a secluded area, they could stumble across these like magic doors, essentially, or magic walls, and they can go through, and some random stuff will happen if they choose to.
Mhm.
It's kind of neat.
Uh,
I'm assuming that maybe the DM had like their own table of things.
yeah, that feels like something that's like campaign specific too,
Yeah.
right? I had something that you brought up kind of, it was with like the triple confirmed critical, but this was saying is like if you rolled 2 20s in a row, it was an instant kill on something, which happens often enough that would just mess up a combat probably. But a bad one I've got, I would hate this. This is why I don't play Legend of Zelda as
Oh, to
well.
answer your
But
question about the 10,000 thing, apparently it's just rolling 4d10.
mm,
Kind of random, but okay.
weapons break on when you roll a natural one.
Hell no.
That's why I didn't play the Legend of Zelda games. I don't like weapons having durability either.
That would
Yeah.
suck.
Broken
yeah,
weapons on that one.
My +5 Vorpal Great Axe just shattered because I rolled
Mhm. Yup.
Yeah, no.
No way.
That would have to have a stipulation like on like improvised or simple weapons or something only, maybe.
This is all of them. There's a bunch of ones like that I've seen. That there's also the opposite of a weapon breaks when they roll maximum damage too.
I did see that one, which
Yeah.
which I guess is rare, but still no.
I don't like it. I mean, because once it's I don't know, because like adding like durability to equipment is a whole other thing that requires its own whole set of rules. But then there's also this where if like a thing happens and it just breaks and you have no chance of ever like rectifying it, which feels silly to me.
Yeah, I don't like the weapon break on max damage because in my mind it doesn't make sense. Right? If you want to RP it, your character used all their training and experience and skill with that weapon to land the perfect hit, exactly as the weapon's designed to do. I don't see why that would break the weapon.
Yeah, it's like there's a whole like a whole category of weapons that aren't about how hard you can hit something with it. In fact, a lot of like weapons are more finesse, like with sword, like even just like swords in general. It's not about like, I mean, a lot of times like hacking how hard you can. It's
if you, I guess if you slammed a basic rusty longsword against a rock and did max damage, sure, it'll break. But
and like, how does it extend to magic weapons? Because if it doesn't extend to magic weapons, well, then probably over half your campaign doesn't matter anymore if it makes it that far.
If you get max damage on a spell, does it break your magical focus? Like what?
If you have a +1 sword, can it break on max damage?
Adamantine weapon.
Yeah.
You know.
Maybe that's what you have to buy adamantine weapons to avoid it. Here's a neutral rule. Getting up from being unconscious gives you a level of exhaustion. So if you are knocked out in combat, when you get up, you have a level of exhaustion. Neutral on it, but it might, I don't know, give some negative impact to the yo-yo effect.
Yeah. I mean, I understand it on a logical standpoint. You went down, so of course you're going to be exhausted, but with like current exhaustion rules, it's not fun. I know we changed it a bit for ours.
Well, we haven't. One D&D has in the future.
Yeah. It's like what? Once you hit level 6 exhaustion, you just straight up die, right?
So current exhaustion rules in 5th edition are: first level, disadvantage on ability checks. Second level, speeds halved. Third, disadvantage on attack rolls and saving throws. Fourth is your hit point maximum is halved. Fifth, your speed reduced to 0, and sixth is death. But I like the idea in practice, but I would want to use the 1 D&D exhaustion rules over that. There's less of a death spiral. Like once things get bad, they just get worse, I think. But I like the idea of it. And Zeus has a good point in the chat of it encourages healing to happen before people go down, before people are dying.
That is true. But yeah, but like it could have that, like you said, a yo-yo effect. So like you go down and then someone gets you up, but then you go down again. Now you have 2 levels of exhaustion, and it's just like eventually you're just gonna die. Which, if you don't play it smart.
Which I think 1 D&D, it goes to like you can have up to 10 levels of exhaustion, and the 11th you die. And I think it's just an increasing -1 like to D20 checks, like all the way up. So if you have like 5 levels of exhaustion, you have like -2 to like any D20 check and like your spell save DC, I think is what it does. So it's less immediately punishing, lets players have the cool thing of like, we're gonna ride through the night, you know, and get somewhere, and like it's still detrimental, but not exponentially bad the more exhaustion you have. That's a neutral one. I like the idea of it.
This one I feel like this is one we can do. And it's has to do with initiative. So if you roll an at 20 on your initiative, you gain advantage on your first roll you make. And if you roll an at 1 for initiative, you get disadvantage on the first roll you make.
You had me in the beginning. I don't like the I don't know.
I mean, we could just take the first half. That's fine. We could drop that nat 1.
Just try and surprise enemies more often.
And then this one I found very interesting, and it may be fun for you, Max. But whenever an enemy crits a player, the DM, and this is like, the players wanted this from their DM. So when they want to know more about the person or character or whoever critted them, so the DM has to create a full backstory about this NPC. So like if it's a guard, for example, that they just lived a mundane life and decided to become a guard, and and this party of adventurers came up stirring trouble, and now felt like the call to action. So he has like a name and all this stuff, and sometimes it would lead to like this NPC turning into like a big villain just through story
So
reason.
it's like the Nemesis system, but legally distinct in its own way because Warner Brothers has a patent on that. So
Correct.
it's like
It is
it's
not
like the NPC system. I don't know. We'll
Yes.
think of an acronym.
NPC promotion system.
Yeah. It's just the NPC system is the NPC promotion system. I love it. I love recursive acronyms.
I have another small silly one.
I might do that. Just go ahead.
Yeah, they call it rolling diplomacy. If a PC shakes an NPC's hand, they have to make a roll, and depending on how good the roll is, will determine how awkward that handshake is. If it's a bad roll, then they have to RP a long, awkward handshake with the NPC.
They just give him like the dead fish.
Yeah. It's like you go to put your hand out and they put their fist out, and
I like that. That sounds fun. I like that one a lot.
Here's a good one that I love. Before every session, all the players roll a d20. Whoever rolls the lowest has to recap the previous session.
Oh man.
If they do a good job, they get an inspiration. I hate writing those last times. I always leave it for like the last minute.
That's not bad. It forces your players to pay attention, take more detailed notes.
Yeah.
I like it. That way there's a reward, and then that way no one's getting singled out. Because if the same person does the recap every time, it kind of defeats the purpose. Then it's one person's job all the time. But everyone has to agree to that.
I have
go ahead.
An interesting one, and this is like, I want to hear. It's like more of a DM take. Is they call it I think they got it from another system or maybe an older edition. Is the defense check. So instead of the DM rolling attacks on players, the players have to roll a defense check, which is like their bonus is their AC minus 10, and they roll a d20. And the DC is set by the monster's hit modifier plus 12. And that frees up the DM time to do more things in the background while the players are deciding if the monster hits them or not with the defense check.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I guess it's the DM is like, they're gonna do this. You make the roll.
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't hate it. It'd be weird to get used to. It's a complete shift in the rules or what the DM usually does, but
I guess it gets the players more involved on when it's not their turn. So when they're getting attacked, they roll to decide if they're getting hit or not. And if they roll a 1 on the defense check, then that is a crit from the attacking unit. And then obviously if you roll a 20, you succeed and don't get hit.
Yeah. The only thing that I don't like about it is, I guess it's going to be whoever the player's hitting. It's more for the players to do off their turn, which gives them less time to prepare for their next turn, I think. But maybe not that much more, because usually I still ask, like, does this hit your AC? And here's how much damage it does to you, kind of thing. So I don't hate it. Here's a neutral rule that was suggested. I don't know if this will work out well, because there'd be a lot more planning involved for this. It's suggesting that when players roll their initiatives, they add it all into a pool, an asset pool, and then the players can choose which character goes at what position. So if all the players roll initiative and it equals a 38, then you can distribute those points however you want to each individual character. Interesting
A
take,
lot
but
of,
yeah,
a lot of math.
agreed.
Another on the thing on the initiative train. Predetermined initiative. So at the beginning of the session, all players roll their initiative, and that's their initiative for the entire session, whether it's through combat or talking order or all that
Mhm.
stuff.
That could be helpful if you have a lot of initiatives in your sessions. Because I think for us, we usually roll 1, maybe 2 initiative rolls per session.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And what we do for my big group is whoever rolls the highest initiative, we just go clockwise after that. 'Cause there's just too many
Mm.
people. So
Mhm.
it makes it easier and it's super fast to keep track of whose turn it is.
Where do monsters go in that? Just at the end or at the beginning, or
Yeah, usually at the end or wherever it happens on the clockwise table.
yeah. Interesting. I like it, and I think it's a good way to deal with big groups, but it kind of negates. I mean, I don't know. It rolls off the good and the bad, right? It's whatever the top one's the top one. So
Yeah.
if you have super low initiative all the time, then you're riding on people's coattails. Or I guess
Yeah.
it
Pretty much.
depends on where you sit at the table.
Yeah, usually with the big group, we usually have 2 people go at once
Hmm.
to help speed things up.
Yeah. Here's a fun one. I say that not seriously. You roll a d10 to find out how far you're able to move for each and every round of combat.
A D10? Like you're
Just-
rolling how many squares you move?
This is what it said. It's d10. I don't know what it applied to, but
Or is it directional?
it was how far you're able to move is what it said specifically. So
Okay.
which
I'm assuming that's how many squares you move then. If with the lack
which
of information.
yeah, which negates how the speed doesn't matter anymore.
Nope.
So screw monks and barbarians or any spells that add speed, right?
Yeah, basically.
You got any
Unless
more?
it
Mhm.
adds to it.
Yeah. You find any more fun ones, VS?
Just a handful of silly ones. Nothing
They're
that's
all
like,
bad.
yeah. This one, I mean, kind of makes sense. I feel like this is a thing most DMs do, even if it's not an actual like house rule. But
Mm-hmm.
when trying to persuade, intimidate, lie, etc., to someone, players have to role play the interactions, and the DC is decided if any roles are required based on what they say.
Oh.
Saying I want to intimidate and rolling for it is lazy, blah blah blah. I guess they're saying like the DM's going to set the DC depending on how the interaction goes, which I feel like DMs probably do usually anyway. No.
I hate rules like that because it punishes people who aren't like good at lying or like good at like giving speeches or like actively persuading people in real life. I like to do it the opposite. So
Yeah.
if you roll first and then based on how well you roll, then you tell me what you say because you'll know if you fucked it up or not.
Yeah. That's why I said I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
Hmm.
I think it's for just, let's say I just want to roll for it and don't want to like role play any aspect of it or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's still role play. You just roll first and then figure it out. And I think Zeus, you put it in great words, is it rewards characters for what players are good at. That's a good, that's a really succinct way of putting that. And you don't want to fall into that pitfall if you can. I agree. Here's a fun one. Magic missile only has one missile because it's not called magic missiles.
Magic shard?
Does it do more damage then?
No, it's just only one missile. That's all you get. Which nerfs one of my favorite spells in the game to
what's
oblivion.
The point then?
What's
the point?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There would be no reason to take that over a cantrip then.
It just feels like some DM hated magic missile.
There were so many house rules where DMs just banned a race because they just hate that race. Not really a house rule.
There's always hot takes on Reddit about flying races getting banned. Oh, it's too powerful. I don't think it is, in my opinion.
I mean, there are a lot of ways to design encounters that can counter that.
Yeah,
exactly.
And there's always the argument, like, well, then the DM has to build encounters just because of that one player. It's like, no, your DM has to balance encounters based on the entire party anyway, based on what they can do.
Yeah.
So it's not any different. It's like, cool, it gives people some bows instead of swords.
I mean, okay, no flying races, but like once your party reaches a certain level, your mage is probably going to take fly.
Yeah, at 5th level.
Yeah.
Then you can make encounters inside caves or buildings where they can't utilize flying because there's no space. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, in like last campaign, like Vin had fly. I mean, there were times where y'all like bypass the puzzle. Great, good job. You used the spell slot to solve the puzzle. Fantastic. Cool. Like, this hurt my feelings. But I guess they just don't like it at level 1. Like, but I don't know. Who cares? In my opinion, you have to build the encounters anyway and take things into consideration. So, I mean, you might build like an encounter differently if the entire party was all casters, or if the entire party was all like melee people. Like, things kind of ebb and flow. Like, I don't know. It's just, it seems like arbitrary and silly to me. Like a lot of Reddit, to be honest.
I saw one that you do. Somebody posted that you actually do, Max. Is letting players have a feat at level 1.
Yeah, I think that's great.
I love it.
I like feats anyway. And remember, in 5th edition, feats are optional rules anyway. So you still have to get DM permission, but I like feats so much. They add so much unique flavor to a character that I like giving them for free when they start out. And I think I like the idea of 1D&D that's tiering feats based off of your level. So it's not always min-max this feat all the time. It's not always pull arm master sentinel human, very human level 1 fighter.
I got a bad one. Well, I just think it's bad for gameplay. Separate D20 roll after you hit the determined penetration of armor.
God.
Oh no.
I mean, that probably has a place in a crunchier game, but not D&D probably.
That's what I mean. Like, it just, from a gameplay perspective, just sounds awful.
That's a good point that Frog put in the Twitch chat. Is at level 1 a net would kill a flying PC. Could you imagine? You're like, I'm an Aarakocra or I'm an Owlin or whatever other flying ones that there are. It's like, I'm gonna fly around in combat and there's someone on a bridge. It's like, net. That would make a net actually useful if it hit. If a net actually hit.
I mean, I guess a level 1 character is possible.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on how high they are to fall damage.
Yep. I forgot the rules to net, so I'm gonna look it up real quick. Let's see. Special weapons net. Has to be large or smaller. The creature can use its action to make a DC 10 strength check to free itself, or slash the net. Isn't it just it's throw weapon? Yeah, 5 and 15 is the range of a net. Yeah.
Here's an interesting one.
That seems stupid. 5 and 15. Go ahead, VS.
So you know how you have the rule in our games we can take a healing potion as a bonus action. Well, this takes that, but also adds if you use your action to drink a healing potion, it heals for max.
Yeah,
so if you sacrifice your action to heal with a potion, then it will be max. But if it's a bonus action, then you roll.
Yeah, I think that we initially discussed that when we were talking about that. We left that one on the table. I think anyway.
Yeah.
I don't remember, it was a long time ago.
I think that one will have to be regulated by like the types of potions are made available to players in towns and stuff. So you probably can't just like go to town and say I want to buy 5 graders or something, you know.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing where like normal healing potions are probably available in some quantity. Like the ones higher than that are going to be like finite quantity as well, even less, and expensive.
Some campaign where like that's a kind of a that sort of healing potion is still being created, so the higher quality ones are rarer to find.
I think it's helpful if you have a party that doesn't have like a dedicated healer, then I think it's a good rule.
Yeah. I would argue to say that most D&D parties don't have a dedicated healer because it's not worth it in 5th edition.
Yeah.
But the new
you have a
we talked about
reviver
last week might change that, which would be cool. Basically, all the heals got buffed. They doubled the dice starting out, which would be interesting. But yeah, that's. I mean, there's some house rules. I will leave you on a tedious one. I think we can wrap it up. Here's a tedious house rule. You have to redo initiative every single round.
Dear God, why? Just there's so much bookkeeping.
Yeah. So house rules can be fun, they can be awful. Make sure that you discuss them prior to starting your campaign and make sure everyone agrees on them or disagrees. And then that way you know whether or not you want to get the hell out of there before you sit down at that table. Like hotness checks. That should be a red flag of like, oh, maybe this game isn't for me.
Yeah.
But anyway, thanks for sharing some of your house rules as well in the chat with us, and looking through these varying degrees of homebrew house rules for 5th edition. So anyway, thanks for watching. And on Wednesday at 7 p.m., Bun is going to be doing her art stream. And then on Thursdays, Winter Out of Combat is going to drop from last week's episode on YouTube and our podcasts only. You can listen to it right now if you want on our Patreon. It's already out there for our patrons. So go check that out. And Friday, as always, will be our episode 25 for campaign 2, which things are getting pretty spicy. It'll be fun for you to come back, Moves. It'll be fun for you to come back. Yeah.
Oh, I bet. Okay, I look forward to
it. Anyway, have a fantastic evening, everybody, and we will see you next time. Bye.